First story. I'm glad my wife's life is miserable and she is ruining her life after she cheated and abandoned me and our kids for her affair partner. And he just died days after she moved in to start her new life. Now she tried to get back with me using our kids and lost relationship, her own kids too. Guess I'm winning. This has been eating at me for months, but I don't feel bad for saying it anymore. My wife's affair partner is dead and I feel nothing but relief. I don't pity him, and I sure as hell don't pity her. After everything they put me and my kids through, they both deserved every ounce of misery they got. If that makes me sound heartless, so be it. I don't care anymore. I was married to my wife STVX soon to be ex. Thank God for 15 years. We have 3 kids, 8, 6, and 4. For most of those years, I thought we were doing okay. Sure. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we were happy enough. Turns out I was dead wrong. The last few years of our marriage were hell. She became distant, mean, and manipulative. She'd spend hours glued to her phone, disappear on work trips, and pick fights with me over nothing. When I tried to talk to her, she'd gaslight me. You're paranoid. You're always nagging. Why can't you just trust me? For a while, I thought maybe I was the problem. Maybe I wasn't doing enough. Maybe I wasn't a good enough husband, but 7 months ago, I got my answer. I found out she was cheating. I'm not going to get into how I found out, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the other man, the affair partner, wasn't just some fling. He was someone she cared enough about to blow up our family for. When I confronted her, she didn't even try to deny it. She actually had the nerve to blame me. You pushed me away, she said. I deserve to be happy. That same night, I kicked her out. She moved in with him less than a week later. At first, I thought the worst part of all this would be losing my wife of 15 years or maybe the humiliation of everyone finding out she left me for a younger man, but no, the worst part, the part that still keeps me up at night, was watching what it did to my kids. When we separated, we agreed on a temporary custody arrangement. I had primary custody, but the court granted her biweekly visitation every other weekend. I didn't like it, but I thought she's still mother. They need her in their lives. I was so wrong. From the very first weekend they spent with her and the affair partner, my kids came back different, quieter, sadder. My 8-year-old, who's usually bubbly and chatty, barely spoke. My 6-year-old clung to me all night, refusing to let go. Even my youngest, who's only 4, seemed scared. At first, I thought maybe they were just adjusting to the separation, but then they started telling me things that made my blood run cold. Mommy's friend yells at us all the time. He says we're bad. He locked us in a room because we didn't listen. I lost it. That same night, I called my lawyer and filed for full custody. I wasn't about to sit back and let my babies get hurt. I thought it would be an open and shut case. After all, my kids were telling me plain as day that they were being mistreated. But of course, my wife denied everything. She told the court I was making it up to alienate the kids from her. Without hard evidence, the judge wouldn't revoke her visitation rights. I was devastated, furious, and completely helpless. 2 months ago, during one of their visitation weekends, my kids came home with some news that caught me completely off guard. My oldest, who's usually pretty quiet about what happens at their mom's house, said something like Mommy's friend isn't there anymore. I didn't think much of it. I figured maybe he was out of town or something, but then my 6-year-old chimed in, he's dead. Mommy said he died in a car accident. I froze. I tried to stay calm for their sake, but my mind was racing. I didn't press them for details. I didn't want to upset them any more than they already were, but it wasn't hard to piece together what had happened from what they told me. My wife had been crying all weekend. She barely fed them, barely talked to them, and spent most of the time locked in her room. Hearing that should have made me feel bad for her, I guessed, but it didn't. I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel sad that he was gone. All I felt was relief that he couldn't hurt my kids anymore, relief that he couldn't harass me anymore, relief that I didn't have to deal with his toxic bullshit anymore. Because let me tell you, this wasn't just some man who slept with my wife. He was pure evil. He went out of his way to make my life hell. He'd send me messages, mocking me, calling me a terrible husband and father. He even showed up at my kids' events just to flaunt himself in front of me. And worst of all, he hurt my babies. So no, I don't feel bad that he's gone. Not one bit. Since the affair partner died, my wife has been a complete wreck. She's missed 2 of her visitation weekends already. And the ones she has shown up for have been a disaster. The kids told me she spent most of the last weekend lying on the couch, barely talking to them. My youngest said Mommy cried a lot. They said she didn't even make them dinner, just told them to eat cereal and go to bed. She's been drinking more too. A few weeks ago, she showed up drunk to one of their school events, late, reeking of alcohol and completely out of it. And now she won't stop texting me. I can't do this alone. I need help. She even asked if we could talk like we're still friends or something. No. Just no. You don't get to destroy me and then come crying to me when your life falls apart. Our divorce is set to finalize in a few months, and I'm fighting like hell for sole custody. I've got everything I need: records of the times she's missed visitation, statements from the kids about the abuse they endured with the affair partner, and even texts proving she's only contesting custody to hurt me. I'm not playing nice anymore. This isn't about revenge. It's about protecting my kids. So, yeah, I don't feel bad that the affair partner is dead. He made my life hell. He hurt my babies, and now he's gone, and I don't have to deal with him anymore. Good riddance. Comments. Comment 1. Holy shit. I'm so sorry you and your kids had to go through this. It sounds like you're handling it like a badass though. I know the courts can be absolute trash when it comes to protecting kids, but I'm glad you're gathering evidence to fight for sole custody. Your ex is clearly not fit to parent, especially now that she's spiraling. Stay strong, op. Karma already got one of them. Now it's time for the courts to handle the rest. Comment 2. You don't owe that woman or her affair partner a single ounce of pity. Seriously, what they both did to you and your kids is unforgivable. His being gone is a blessing for your children's safety, and your wife being miserable is just a side bonus. Keep documenting everything: missed visitations, the drinking, how your kids are reacting after spending time with her. Family court sucks sometimes, but if you present this well, you should have a solid case for sole custody. Good riddance to that man, and good luck to you and your kids. Comment 3. Don't ever let anyone guilt you for feeling relief about the affair partner's death. He hurt your children. Full stop. If someone hurts your babies, you have every right to hate them until the end of time. And your STBX sounds like she's only fighting for custody to spite you, not because she genuinely cares about the kids. I'd bet money she'll eventually drop out of the fight when she realizes she doesn't have a leg to stand on. You're doing the right thing by fighting for your kids. Keep going, op. You're a damn warrior. Update. I didn't think I'd be back here so soon, but, oh my god, the things that have happened over the past month. I can't even believe it myself. If I ever had even a shred of pity left for my soon-to-be ex-wife, it's gone, completely gone. This woman is a pathetic excuse for a human being, and watching her fall apart while I fight for full custody of my kids is honestly the most satisfying thing I've ever experienced. Let me explain. It started a few weeks after my last post. The woman has been an absolute disaster ever since her affair partner died in that car accident. She's barely been showing up for her bi-weekly visitation weekends. And when she does show up, it's a complete SHT show. My kids come home sad and frustrated, saying things like mommy's just crying all the time or mommy doesn't do anything with us. I've been documenting everything, by the way, missed visits, how they come back upset, all of it. But this part pissed me off so much I almost lost it. Apparently, during one of the rare weekends she actually picked the kids up, she started talking to them about getting back together. My oldest told me that their mom said things like, "Wouldn't it be nice if daddy and mommy lived together again? And if you want to see me more, you need to tell daddy to stop being so mean to me." Are you kidding me? She literally tried to manipulate our kids into begging me to take her back. My 8-year-old, bless her heart, came home and immediately told me everything. She said, "Mommy wants us to tell you to live with her again, but I don't want to." My 6-year-old just looked uncomfortable and said, "Mommy said it would make her happy." This woman has no shame. None. Using her own children as pawns to manipulate me, disgusting. And then came the night. It was a Friday. My kids were home with me because, surprise, my STBX had forgotten it was her visitation weekend. Again. I just put them to bed when I heard someone banging on my front door. When I opened it, there she was, a drunken, crying mess. She could barely stand, reeking of booze with tears streaming down her face. She just kept slurring, "I'm sorry" over and over again, like some broken record. I told her to leave. I told her she had no right to be here, but she pushed her way inside, stumbling into my living room and collapsing on the couch. And that's when the real show started. She started begging me to take her back, not just begging, groveling on her knees, sobbing, saying things like, "I can't do this without you. You're the only one who's ever loved me. Please. I'll do anything to fix this. And my personal favorite, I made a mistake. He didn't mean anything to me." Are you effing serious? This woman tormented me for months, cheated on me, abandoned me and her kids. And now, after she's lost everything, she wants to crawl back. I don't think I've ever been more disgusted in my life. I couldn't even look at her. I recorded the whole thing, every drunken, pathetic, manipulative word that came out of her mouth. I had my phone on me from the moment I opened the door, and I hit record as soon as she started her sob story. I've sent it to my lawyer, who says it's going to be very helpful in my custody case. Eventually, I managed to get her out of my house, and by managed, I mean I called a friend to come help me physically escort her to the curb. But the damage was done. My kids are starting to notice how unreliable and unstable their mom is. My 8-year-old told me the other day, "I don't think mommy wants to be a mommy anymore." My 6-year-old said, "Mommy's always sad." And my 4-year-old just cries whenever her name is brought up. It breaks my heart. They deserve so much better than this. They deserve a mother who loves them, who prioritizes them, who doesn't use them as emotional crutches or bargaining chips. But at the same time, it makes me even more determined to protect them. Every time they come back from her house upset, I remind myself why I'm fighting so hard for full custody. Every time she misses a visit, every time she does something selfish or irresponsible, I add it to my growing pile of evidence. I'm not going to lie, this whole process has been exhausting. Fighting for sole custody is no joke, and it feels like every step forward comes with 2 steps back. But the more my STBX falls apart, the stronger my case becomes. My lawyer is confident we'll win. Between the missed visits, the kids' statements, her drunken breakdown, which I have recorded, and her general lack of stability, the court is going to have a hard time justifying any sort of custody for her. And honestly, watching her self-destruct is kind of satisfying. For years, she made me feel like I was the problem, like I wasn't good enough, like I was crazy or paranoid or too controlling. But now she's the one who's desperate, pathetic, and completely alone. She thought the grass was greener on the other side, and now she's crawling back because she realized she effed up. Well, too bad. She's not my problem anymore. The court hearing for custody is in a few weeks, and I'm feeling more confident than ever. I've got mountains of evidence, a great lawyer, and 3 kids who need me to fight for them. I don't care what happens to my STBX anymore. She made her bed, and now she has to lie in it. My focus is on my kids and making sure they grow up happy, healthy, and safe. If she wants to destroy herself, fine. I'm just glad I don't have to go down with her. Update, it's finally over. After months of stress, fighting for my kids, and watching my soon-to-be ex-wife spiral further into the mess she created, I can finally say it. I won. I walked out of court with full custody of my kids, and my wife is left with nothing but supervised visitation and the wreckage of the life she destroyed. And honestly, I feel incredible. But this didn't happen without its fair share of drama. In the weeks leading up to the hearing, my wife's pathetic behavior reached a whole new level. She didn't just hit rock bottom, she smashed through it and kept digging, and watching her crumble has only solidified what I've always known. This woman never deserved me or our kids. Let me start with the low point of her pathetic attempts to get back into my life. About a week before the custody hearing, I got a request for a meeting from her lawyer. Apparently, my wife wanted to talk things over. At first, I didn't know what to think. Maybe she was finally ready to settle, to admit she was unfit, and stop wasting everyone's time. But of course, that wasn't the case. When we sat down with our lawyers, she tried to pull this whole "I'm changing, let's co-parent for the kids' sake" act. She said things like "I'm not going to fight anymore. I just want what's best for the kids." She even said she wanted us to get along and work together. I saw right through it. This woman has done nothing but sabotage me for months. She's missed visitation weekends, used the kids to try and manipulate me, shown up drunk to their school events, and let her affair partner torment my family. And now, suddenly, a week before court, she wants to play nice? Please. It was obvious she was trying to make herself look better in front of the court. Maybe she thought I'd fall for it or that it would make me back down somehow. But I just sat there, calm and quiet, letting her talk herself in circles. I didn't agree to anything. I didn't give her an inch. And when the meeting was over, I walked out knowing one thing for sure, I had already won. The custody hearing was last week, and let me tell you, it was satisfying. My lawyer came prepared with everything. We gathered records of every missed visitation, proof of her drunken behavior, including that night she showed up at my house crying and begging me to take her back, statements from my kids about what they endured at the hands of her affair partner, and how their mom stood by and let it happen. It was brutal. The judge didn't hold back. They called her out for her instability, her drinking, and her inability to prioritize the kids. They pointed out how she'd shown zero effort to be a responsible parent. And then they handed me exactly what I was fighting for, full custody. My wife was granted supervised visitation, which means any time she wants to see the kids, it has to be with someone watching. And honestly, I don't think she'll even bother. She's been so unreliable throughout this entire process that I doubt she'll follow through. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt like I could finally breathe again. My kids are safe. The nightmare is over. As for my wife, she's a complete mess. Not long after the hearing, I heard through mutual friends that she'd lost her job. Apparently, her drinking had gotten so bad that she stopped showing up to work altogether. And you know what? I don't feel bad for her. Not one bit. This is the same woman who cheated on me, who let her affair partner abuse our kids, who gaslit me for years, and who tried to use our children as pawns to manipulate me. She made her choices, and now she's living with the consequences. The best part of all of this is seeing the difference in my kids. They're still adjusting, but now that they don't have to go to her house unsupervised, they're so much happier. My oldest told me the other day, "I like it better now. Mommy doesn't make me feel bad anymore." Hearing that broke my heart, but it also reassured me that I did the right thing. My 6-year-old, who used to cry every time it was time to visit their mom, Has been sleeping better. And my 4-year-old, who's too young to fully understand everything, just seems more at peace. As for me, I'm thriving. I didn't fight for child support or alimony because, frankly, I don't need it. I make enough to take care of myself and my kids, and I don't want anything tying me to her financially. Now I can finally focus on my kids, my career, and rebuilding our lives without her toxic presence hanging over us. Watching her crawl back to me when she had nothing left was one of the most disgusting yet validating moments of my life. She only came back because she realized she'd burned every other bridge, and I was the last person standing. But I'm not her safety net. I'm not her savior. She made her bed, and now she has to lie in it. Good riddance. Story 2. My girlfriend gets so jealous over her sister's boyfriend that she cries until she vomits. My girlfriend, Jessie, and I are high school sweethearts and share an apartment with her sister, Felicia. Felicia has been seeing a man named Ben for the past 3 months. They met over Tinder, and with certain restrictions lifting, we're finally getting to spend time with him. He's a really great person, and he and Felicia are stupidly into each other, like accidentally finishing each other's sentences in love, staring at each other with big gooey eyes in love. It's kind of gross but kind of sweet. A couple of days ago, I noticed that Jessie's been acting weird. She's been a lot quieter and a bit colder to me, going to bed early and getting up late. I tried to kiss her, and she turned away. Yesterday, when Felicia was out, I asked what was up with her. She started off kind of hostile, but when I said that I was really feeling hurt, she blew up. Summarized, she told me that she was rethinking our entire relationship after listening to her sister talk about Ben. She said that Ben asked for Felicia's preference when he cut his hair and didn't get bangs when she said she thought they looked stupid, when I got a buzz cut without asking Jessie what she'd think first. She said that Ben gave Felicia oral every night before bed and one every morning when she woke up, while I don't really like oral, giving or receiving. She said I never offer to give her massages or pack her lunch. For clarification, I do things for her all the time, but we've never been lovey-dovey. We don't even celebrate Valentine's Day, her suggestion. We both always agreed it was stupid and unrealistic. In fact, we always used to make fun of people for being sappy and definitely gave Felicia hell for a bit over being so gooey. She was crying by the end of it, saying that she felt sick over missing out on someone who would love her that much. I said I loved her, but she didn't want to hear it. She started gagging and threw up a little bit because she was crying so hard. I didn't know what else to do. So I got her some water and went to bed. I went to work early and have been hanging out at a coffee shop, but I have to go home soon. I have no idea where to go from here or what to say to her. I don't even know if we're still together. Help. Top comments. Drink court in 1,000,000 years. I would never be able to look at my partner again if they said something like this to me. I'd be out the door for good. Jessie_monster. And then started crying so much they threw up. No, thank you. That kind of entitlement and immaturity is a deal breaker. Outdated_opinion. She sounds like a grown-up version of Eric from South Park. Update, 3 days later. Sorry, I didn't respond to anyone's comments. I went home after posting, and by the time I logged back onto Reddit, the post had been locked. A few of you asked for the update. So here it is, I'm single. I came home, and Jessie was gone. Felicia was there and asked if I could sit down for a bit. She wouldn't give me the exact details but said that she and Jessie had talked while I was out. She also showed me a few text messages to prove it. Apparently, Felicia had never shared any details with her sister, but Jessie had been able to hear them moan through the walls when Ben stayed over. It wasn't a sister talk or anything after all, just the woman I thought I was going to marry listening to her sister have sex trough the walls. When Felicia got home from work, Jessie tried joking about it and made comments about Ben's race. Felicia kicked her out, and now Jessie is going to be staying with her parents. So I have to pay her share of the rent too, because Felicia refuses to let her in and Jessie refuses to come back. Double neat. A few people had questions. Did Jessie ever mention wanting romantic gestures? No. We actually got together because we were the only goths in school. We bonded over being against lovey-dovey stuff like that. We grew out of the edgy phase, but yeah, she always was firm. She hated Valentine's Day and men who needed roses or gifts to feel loved. Has she ever done anything like this before? Now that I think about it, yeah, she's thrown tantrums before but never like this. Things like carrying out orders for getting her side dishes or stores running out of her favorite items always made her really emotional. Why don't you like oral? A bad incident involving Jessie's braces left me with some scarring down there. She liked deep throating. 0-10. I feel sorry for Ben. I don't want to know any more details about their relationship, but they seem happy. They work at the same high-intensity job, think physical trainers or OT. So he packs meal prepped bento boxes for her and himself. Felicia buys him flowers, fixes his car, and goes over when spiders get into his apartment. Like I said, they're cute. This is fake. Listen, woman, that's your right to believe it. Even I think it's fake. And I'm the one that has to figure out how to ship 200 Funko Pops to my ex. So there you go. Top comments. Myths are crazy stories. I'm the one that has to figure out how to ship 200 Funko Pops to my ex. Nope. Her sister can figure that SHT out. That lady is no longer your responsibility. You also don't have to pay double rent. Jessie can pay rent for a place she doesn't live in. You need to find a new place to live so you don't have to be surrounded by a reminder of your past relationship. Exterminatus for life. She had 200 Funko Pops. It was doomed from the start. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends. Why don't you like oral? A bad incident involving Jessie's braces left me with some scarring down there. She liked deep throating. 010. I feel sorry for Ben. I don't want to know any more details about their relationship, but they seem happy. They work at the same high-intensity job, think physical trainers or OT. So he packs meal-prepped bento boxes for her and himself. Felicia buys him flowers, fixes his car, and goes over when spiders get into his apartment. Like I said, they're cute. This is fake. Listen, woman, that's your right to believe it. Even I think it's fake. And I'm the one that has to figure out how to ship 200 Funko Pops to my ex. So there you go. Top comments. Myths are crazy stories. I'm the one that has to figure out how to ship 200 Funko Pops to my ex. Nope. Her sister can figure that SHT out. That lady is no longer your responsibility. You also don't have to pay double rent. Jessie can pay rent for a place she doesn't live in. You need to find a new place to live so you don't have to be surrounded by a reminder of your past relationship. Exterminatus for life. She had 200 Funko Pops. It was doomed from the start. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.